Good evening, everyone. Happy Sunday. It's America's Supermom. How is everybody doing this evening? We are going to be going over our theme of the week, which is messenger. So, not sure what's going on with what is going on with this laptop. Okay, it's going crazy on me. Bear with me. I don't know what's going on with this laptop. I tell you, it's always something. You never know. All right, so before we get into our topic, we are going to read a scripture, and that is going to be Proverbs. We are into December 6th, so we're reading Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 10. It says, "A little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come on you like a bandit, and scarcity like an armed man." So, this is talking about what can happen when we are not focused on what it is that we want to do. Okay, taking a little sleep, a little slumber. There's okay with getting rest, but sometimes we take rest to the extreme and then we end up in a worse position than how we started. So that is the message for today. So, many of us could think as it gets to be the holidays, you know how you just kind of don't feel like doing anything because of the holidays. It's like, oh, I just want to have a vacation, and we want to have that mindset for the whole duration of the holidays. People getting off early. You get 1 or 2 days off, but you trying to take the whole week off, that type of thing. We want to be mindful of making sure that we're not taking too much rest and we're not losing our focus on what it is that we want to do, especially as we prepare for a new year. All right, so a couple of announcements. Master classes in the morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it lasts for an hour. Let's see, had a great retreat this weekend, Discover Your Inner Healer with Angelica. It was amazing. We had 39 speakers. Dr. Joe Vitale spoke. We had Freddie Ben. It was just amazing. So a great time. And then I think that was pretty much it. I was just into that. It was Saturday and Sunday. So it just concluded today. So just really being able to speak and then hear all the different messages. It was just a great time. This Thursday, I will be on a LinkedIn Live with Oleg Lahid. So we are going to be talking about hair. Not sure where that's going to lead us. So I'm excited that he asked me to join him. So that is going to be this Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on LinkedIn Live. So I'm excited about that. All right, so we are going to get into our topic really quick. I mean, it's 9 o'clock, y'all. I meant to get on here earlier, but life happens. So we are going to dive into the acronym MESSENGER. All right. So the first letter is M, and that is your message. So really recognizing what is it that I am trying to tell people, what is it that I do or whatever? What am I passionate about? That is really your message. So as a messenger, it's easy to provide that role when you know that you're clear about your message, because that makes it more about the information that you're sharing rather than, do I have on the right lipstick? Do I have on the right earrings? Is this shirt right? Should I wear a dress? And all these things that you do when you're public speaking, right? Or doing any kind of speaking event, or, it could be anything, just an appointment with somebody, getting on a Zoom call. We can second guess ourselves, go through this self-doubt. Well, a lot of that can be eliminated when you recognize what your message is. So when you get comfortable with that, you can show up and be you and recognize that it's the information that you're given that helps you to manifest whatever it is you want to manifest through that union. Hey, Beverly, how are you? So the next letter is E, and that's ego. Okay, so this is just taking it a step further, because so often we get in our own way, right? Been there, done that myself. And so that's why I like to start with the scripture, because I have to learn that I don't care how many times you've been on a Facebook Live, or how many times you spoke, or how many times you've been a mom, or, did this role or this job. It's like new every time. You don't know everything and you can learn something, right? So when we have ego, we get in the way, right? We think, oh, I know how to do this. I don't need to listen. I got this. I can do that or whatever. And then it's times like this, like, I get on here and my computer starts glitching or whatever, right? So you never know what you're going to be faced with. So when you have ego, it makes it a harder time to adjust to things that happen outside of your control. You get more stress, anxiety. If you're not tied into ego, you can laugh at yourself. You can say, oh, well, I'll try more, try better the next time. Or, I will get whatever checked out and then I'll come back and do it later. Right. But when you have ego, it's like, sometimes you run yourself ragged. You are just so programmed about how you're going to get it done that you don't think about what the product's going to look like, right? So sometimes that ego can get in your way. So Beverly says, wonderful, beautiful. Hey, Melanie. Melanie's joining us too. Okay. I'm so glad that I get a chance to see you, Melanie. I love these lives that you've been doing on LinkedIn. So I want to encourage you guys, Beverly and Melanie both have shows. So if you're watching this live or with the replay, look them up. They have a new feature now. So, if you're on somebody's Facebook Live, you can just click on their picture and then you can immediately give them a message, or go to their profile or something. So look them up. Reach out to them, schedule a Zoom call because they may want to have you on their shows. Okay. So that's the thing with that. Congratulations, Melanie. Melanie just got a promotion to manager in a business that we're doing together, Send Out Cards. So actually, we both got promoted. And so it's amazing. We get to be recognized tomorrow on our live call. So the next letter is S, and that is solutions, right? Facebook is changing along with things for sharing. The new message here is really important. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I just tried to do a live through Facebook, and I don't know, it was saying that I had to check my settings or something, so it wouldn't let me do it. So I don't know what that's about. So that's why I'm on StreamYard. But so the next letter is solutions. So you want to think about you're providing solutions to your clients, to whoever it is in the situation, right? Now, sometimes we can kind of get an ego again with solutions. So it's like, oh, I know what you need, right? But you want to be in the mindset, not that you have the solution, but that you can create a solution with the input of whoever it is you're talking to, right? Good to see you, Karen. Now, Karen is, one of my connections with my comic book. So, really excited about that's going to be coming out. Well, it actually is out. Karen, put in the comments, do you know the link or something that people can look at? Because I've been all over the place. I finished my book and I knew the comic book was out, but I just really have not had a lot of time to promote and really do a lot with it. So if you have the link, you can put it in there. But Karen is another good guest for Beverly or Melanie to have on your show. She is phenomenal. I did a podcast interview with her. So that's somebody else that you could reach out to. And she's very actively involved in the comic book. So when I say solutions, it is not already having your mind made up, but being solution oriented. So whenever you engage with someone, you're intentional about creating a solution, which is different than saying, oh, I know what you need, right? It is you listening and creating something organic in your conversation with whoever it is that you're talking to. Okay. So I know this is sometimes a hard thing because, as moms, we think we know everything with our kids, or, if you're a coach and you've been a coach for 10 years, we get into this idea of thinking that we know. But if we take time to listen, it really makes our job easier because we just listen, repeat back what others tell us, and they just seem like, wow, that is a good idea, and they've already made up their own mind what they're going to do, right? So all we're doing is being a good listener. We're holding that space so they can think things through. And so this is how you come up with solutions. All right. The next letter is S again, and that is to serve. All right. So you want to think when you're serving, that also is a paid position. So many people get this wrong, right? It's like, oh, I love to serve. I'm passionate about what I do. And you're always doing charity. Now, charity is different than serving, okay? Because if I'm a coach, right, this is what my shingle says on my business, brick and mortar, online shingle, whatever it is, but you're not making any money. That's not a business. Okay. That is a charity, a hobby, something that, why are you professing and spending all this time doing something and not getting anything in return? So when we serve from our knowledge, our experiences. However, there is an exchange in that serve. So think about it. When you go to a restaurant, you have a server. They may not get paid an hourly rate like the person who is cooking, but they get a rate and then they make tips off of the services that they provide. If you get services somewhere, a lot of times there's a service fee, right? So serving is not a place of not getting anything in return. So you want to think about serving is really being conscious of what it is the individual wants. So if I'm a server at a restaurant, I am waiting on them for them to tell me what they would like. They get the menu, they tell me what they want, I go get that and bring it back, right? So I have to be a good listener. I have to take notes and remember what it is that they told me so I can bring back the right things so they can be happy, I can be happy, and we have a great exchange. So when you're thinking about serving, you're serving people what they want, which is something that still is marketable and something that should be getting money for you, right? So you're just listening, finding out what they want and providing that for them if you're able to. If you're not, then maybe you're referring them to somebody. Hey, you know what? That's out of my lane, but let me refer you to Sally. Sally can do that. Okay. The next letter is E, and that's your environment. So you want to be conscious of, what type of environment am I in? Now, this is not only for your clients, but it's also for just your everyday situation. Sometimes we notice that our moods change, our enthusiasm, lack of motivation. It could be your environment, right? Environment consists of, what are you listening to? Are you listening to the same song that is just really sad? And then every day throughout the day, you find yourself sad, right? You might have to get a different song. It could be, what are you eating? Your environment. Do you have a lot of snacks around? Do you just grab something sweet because it's out there and it's readily available rather than grabbing fruit? That's part of your environment. Are you talking to the right people? Are they bringing you positivity, right? Okay. We're going to start a reading group next Sunday for those who buy the e-comic book. Oh, we're getting a Zoom meeting for our reading group Sundays for Arizona time, Mountain time right now. Awesome. Okay. So you see, they are moving and shaking, y'all, with this comic book. I think it's amazing. My kids, they haven't seen it yet. So I've told them about it, but I think it's not going to really be real until they see a copy. That's how it was for the book that I was a part of. It's like they don't understand what I'm doing, but then when they see something physical, what? Now I'm really telling the truth or something. I don't know if I'm making up stuff or what. But, so your environment, right? So even then, there's times that I don't really tell my kids or certain family members everything because they don't respond in a way sometimes that motivates me. Sometimes I just have to keep it a secret till things manifest and then they can celebrate with me. So it's one of those things, not everybody's vision is the same. Not everybody sees things the same way. No, you're fine. I love the interaction. I tell people this all the time because, it's so funny when you are talking to this little dot on your computer, right? So it's fun that you can engage, but I love Zoom because people are there with you. But when you have a Facebook Live, it's like, is this resonating? Are people interested? You never know when you're talking to yourself. That's how it works for me. So I love the engagement. You're actually fine. All right. So Michelle is saying so true. So the next thing is, with your environment, just like now, this is a great environment, right? So you're not interrupting. We're having a conversation. I'm telling you, when it gets to writing, they need to have something quick with the comments because when you have to type them in and you're engaged and, by the time you get done writing it, we've moved on to another thing, right? And then you're just now getting it up there, right? So we need to come up with something quick for the messages through the chat box. So the next letter is N, and this is new things. So I'm really glad Karen's on because I would have never thought of a comic book, right? She and I did an interview. She's telling me about Janelle Garner, who is the person who created this whole dream publishing concept with the comic book, and they have even more things down the pipe. But anyway, she connected me with her. And because of me being willing, I was able to do something new and different, which was a comic book, right? So I'm passionate about the youth and understanding that, I'm not going to be here forever. As a matter of fact, my birthday is Sunday and I'll be 50. So, I look and I say, man, not sure what things I'm still going to be able to witness, but it's all about being engaged at every element of life, I think. So the comic book keeps me young because I still have a 6-year-old, right? So can you imagine 10 more years before she starts driving and then 12 more before she graduates? It's like, man, I'm 50. So we're looking at 62 by the time she graduates from high school. So that sounds old. All right. So this is how things are created, thinking of the gaps that exist. So true. Yeah. The necessity is the mother of invention. This is true. So the next list, so with new things, you want to always kind of be able to get out of your comfort zone, right? Because if it's something you can see all the time, then where's the newness in that? That's the whole thing about growth, change. Change really is good and change is constant because things change. We have 4 seasons. Even though it is familiar to us, every season is different, even though it can be the same. Every summer we have something going on, in terms of what the weather's like, what the trees look like, but every summer is different. Now, this year, definitely, we have years that pass, but this year definitely was different than any other year based on everything we experienced with this global pandemic. But new things is something that you want to continue to involve yourself with so you don't get stuck. You don't get stuck in a rut, where many people are or were before this global pandemic. They were forced to get out of their comfort zone because of what happened, maybe in their industries or just in their family life. I mean, we've all just had to stretch beyond what we were used to. The next letter is G, and that's gratitude. So, really being mindful of appreciating, right? So even in the midst of 2020, with all that we have to complain about, right? Because a lot of things change. We also, thank you so much, Beverly. We also have to think about, hey, Jonathan, we all have to think about being grateful, right? I'm grateful for you guys being on this Facebook Live, right? Many of you have a special place in my heart. I think I've talked to everybody and have been on their show or them being on mine. Everybody who's on this call, or we've been connected some way. I think Michelle, I haven't done her, and Beverly, I've been on Beverly's show, but she hasn't been on mine. And Michelle, she won one of the drawings that we had for my Fashion Fridays. So we're all connected here. So this is a great way for you guys to connect with each other, right? It's just like a party. You go over somebody's house and you see, oh, hey, you haven't met them before. We're doing the same thing. It's just digitally. So you can always reach out and be like, yeah, I saw you last night at LaChelle's function, and it's not a function, it's a Facebook Live, right? So whatever. That's how you do it. Yeah, Beverly says I need to get her on my show. I'm telling you, Beverly is a great connector too. If you want to do any speaking engagements, Beverly, I'm thinking you're connected to Melanie though. If you're not, you guys need to connect. But she does a lot of speaking. She's in speaking groups. And so if you want to speak on different stages and platforms, Beverly's somebody to know for that. Because she really got me going a lot with my speaking this year. But I started this year with the year of intention. I wanted to do 20, I think it was 20 speaking engagements. And I've way exceeded that. I can't even think how many I did this year during a global pandemic. So imagine that. I'm telling you, when you start with intention, that is what you got to do. So she says, got to get involved with the Fashion Bot Challenge. We got to do that. So yeah, tell us what that's about, Karen. We have so much stuff going on. This is with the comic book, you guys. And so Beverly and Karen, you guys need to connect because Beverly is doing augmented the augmented reality. Is that how I say it, Beverly? With the AI or something, virtual reality. So between the virtual reality and the comic book, that's a good connection. So you guys need to talk. Okay, let's see. Yeah, she says hi, Beverly. So yeah, y'all need to get that calendar to each other and Messenger and set up a call. Virtual reality. Okay, so Jonathan is saying you pivoted with power you want. Going to let a pandemic. Amen. You know what? It's the people that I'm around. You guys just kept moving, so I had no choice. Jonathan has been doing phenomenal things, and Jonathan has an event this Saturday. So for many of you who are thinking about, man, what am I going to do for 2021 with my social media? I want to start off with a good foundation. I want to be able to move forward. He is somebody to connect with because this Saturday, he's doing a social media class. It's like 2.5 hours. It starts at 11:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I think he has the link. He can put that in there. But, let's get started on the right plane, because social media changes all the time anyway. But I took his class. It was 6 weeks. And I still have a lot of information that I can implement because it was so thorough, right? So he really is good at what he does. And I love the way he really wants to make sure that we have the information necessary in order to move forward. But he is going to be having a class this Saturday coming up. So it's from 11:30 to 2 o'clock. And he can put the link in there. All right. So this is great. Look, you guys have all kinds of things that you're getting information on. And then the next letter is E, and that's energy, right? So I love it. You guys have had some positive energy, just us being on this Facebook call, right? And that is really a good thing to be mindful of. People don't want to be around negative energy. And if negative energy is in the atmosphere, it kind of drains people, right? It takes away. It's like that negativity. It just pulls the positivity out of you. So you want to be mindful of thinking about what kind of energy you are really emitting, right? Because that can make the difference. So even if you're positive, right? And you get in, he's put the link in there. He has a discounted link, you guys. You guys are getting special treatment for that link for the Eventbrite. But if you have things that you want to market next year, he's just great with social media. I love the 9 essential posts. I know him for the 9 essential posts. And so with that concept, you're able to take some time and get all your social media squared away so that you're not stressed out, for the week. It's done, right? And if you need to schedule stuff, you can do that. But he really has a great way that he explains it. Okay, she said she'd love to have you. All right, there you go. That's a speaking opportunity, Jonathan. All right. So look at this energy. So you're thinking about the energy. I learned something so profound today. This was with Dr. Joe Vitale. So I'll put his information in here if you guys don't know him, but he's from The Secret, right? That movie, if you guys ever watched it, or, that whole concept, I think, with Oprah. But anyway, he said this. Now, this is profound. You guys got to really stretch yourself. He started off and said, I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. So these are like 4 things that you really need to be conscious of always saying just for yourself. Well, anyway, long story short, he talked about this doctor who never saw any of these mentally ill criminals in this hospital ward. But because the doctor healed himself, all the mentally ill criminals in that ward got healed. And so he said, when I heard about that, I thought, this is crazy. This is some, wise tale, or, this isn't real. So he kind of discounted it. The story came back again. Long story short, he did some research, found the doctor. The doctor said, yeah, it happened. He said, in a nutshell, what happens is anything that you have a problem with, you can solve yourself. As a result of solving that, things change with the problem, right? So think about it. If you create your own reality, right? We all say that you can create your own destiny, your own reality, which means the people that are in your reality, you still can impact them, right? Otherwise, what difference would it make if you have a reality all by yourself? So if I say, oh, I can create my own reality, what's going to happen to my kids? Do they just disappear, or, what? Right? So they're still part of that reality, right? Because if you're controlling your reality, that's also part of your reality, which means you can control the positive or the negative. Is that not profound? So when he said what the doctor did was he never saw any of the people. He said, I'm going to work on myself. Nobody wanted the job anyway. So he offered to take it. So then what he did was looked over the people's records. And if he just felt anger or, guilt or shame, then he dealt with that emotion and it healed the people. Now, isn't that, yeah, Hopopono or something. Yeah, she knows what it is. So have you heard about that before? I just thought that was just really awesome. Okay. Because it's kind of like a reframe. I've had that before with myself, overcoming depression. And so a reframe, I'm dealing with my issue, having that awareness, saying, hey, it may not be my fault, but I'm taking ownership and responsibility. And one of the things he said is that you don't necessarily have to take blame because you're taking responsibility. You're just taking the responsibility to fix it. Now, I thought that was profound, right? So Beverly said there's a book on it. Quite interesting story. Yeah, from the process for 10 years or better. Yeah. So I think the book he first one was Zero Limits or something. Um, but I just think that this is great that he brought this up for such a time as this, because we have a lot of people dealing with a lot of pain and things that weren't necessarily in their control. However, the issue that I am kind of paraphrasing is that whether it was in your control or not, you begin to have control to change it or not. Right. So I think that's what's profound. Right. So that's something with the energy. So thinking about, and it makes sense though. Look, if you can go in the company of somebody who is positive and they can be contagious and change your demeanor, the same thing could happen if somebody's negative, right? Because what happens is as you do the work on yourself, your perception changes about the other person. And I really believe that to be true. So I know, like with my story with overcoming depression, I don't really have a thing of judgment with people anymore, right? I just let people be who they are. It's not a matter of, I wouldn't do it that way. It's not even like that because it's like, I don't know what they had to deal with. I don't know what resources or tools they had in their toolbox when they made that decision. So why am I even going to go into that negative spiral of thinking that I could do it better or I would do it differently? Because that's really not serving me and it wasn't my decision to make. So when I meet people, it's like, what can I learn from them? Because people will tell you what they want you to know. It just comes out. So it's asking the right questions and you begin to get that insight. So energy is key. It's very important because you can really do a lot with that. And then our last letter is R, and that's ready. So we always have to be ready. There's a saying, if you're ready, then you never have to get ready, right? So when it comes to your clients or anything that you have to do in life. Let's say you want to start a business. Well, if you're ready, you don't have to get ready. You just get started, right? And that's the hardest thing is just taking that first step and getting started. So readiness comes from preparation that can help us to move forward. Okay, so Karen says our bully bot are here to change how we see them. We are talking. So buy the fashion bot, design a style for your bot, and take a pic and post it on your QuirkBot Hero page, and we will enter the top 20 contestants into their intergalactic fashion show and be on our show as well in our fashion magazine. You see this? I am telling you, they are on the move with this comic book. So they have a show, a Cartoon Network. Melanie is saying 100%. They also have, they're going to do this fashion show. I'm just amazed. The creativity. And people say, man, how are you doing all these things? It is because of the energy. Think about it. Like now, let's just say that we came up with the topic and all the energy, everybody, talking in the chat, saying their insights or ahas or whatever, or even just sharing. And look at how much energy ideas have just transpired just from that, right? So we have a lot of power, that we can begin to exercise and use it intentionally. I think there's so much power in intention. So yeah, you may have a Facebook Live, but have you ever considered, now I'm a Christian, so I start with the scripture, but have you ever thought, you know what? Let me pray about what I'm going to talk about on my Facebook Live. Let me pray that the right people are on here so that, I will give them a message of hope, or, if they're stuck, I can help them get unstuck, right? You know what I mean? We just get on here, and I get that we have a business and we want to move our business forward, but sometimes just having intention, which that's still one of our goals, right? So not necessarily that your goal is always about moving the business forward, but it's about, deeper relationships. That's one of the things that we're finding Melanie and I both being in send out cards, right? We're finding that deeper relationships are, sending people cards for their birthday, right? Or, giving them a word of encouragement when they're on Facebook Live, or, sharing something that they said. So different things like that. So this is the opportunity to think about how we can really impact other people's lives. And so when we're ready, right, we're able to always speak our truth at any moment. There was this saying that I created about a month ago, and it said, if you speak your truth, you'll never be at a loss for words. So if I know myself better than anybody else, whenever someone says, hey, can you get up here and say a few words? I can say something because I know who I am and I know what my message is, right? Now that's my truth. Somebody else will have to talk their truth. But if I'm speaking mine, I always can have something to say, right? If it's gratitude, if it's, any message that I feel that I want to share, I can do that if I'm speaking my truth. All right. So she says supporting each other can have a great impact. Amen. Karen says 1000%. I love it. Or actually, it's more than that. But this is just awesome, the engagement. So, that is the concept of dealing with messenger. And so thinking about, we all are messengers in some form or fashion, right? So if you are representing your business, you're a messenger for your business, right? If you are part of your family, you're a messenger for your family, right? Organizations, you're a messenger for them because you are sharing the message of this organization, your business, or whatever, right? So it's kind of like marketing. It's the same thing. You're ambassador, messenger, so you want to think about, with that being the case, how you can exercise that role in a way that impacts and inspires those that come in contact with you, right? So when we know exactly what our role is, how we do it, it helps us to be authentic and be more impactful, right? Because we are able to recognize that, hey, you know what? I'm here as a mouthpiece, so I don't have to get so caught up in the outcomes. That's another thing, right? So it's like sometimes you want to say things or do certain things, but you're thinking, well, they may think this. And then you go on with this whole scenario from something hypothetical that's not even true that you've made up in your head, right? So we can go on tangents for days with things that are negative, but sometimes when we just don't even give the positivity a chance, right? We don't even say, wow, you know what? If I go say hello to them, they may end up being a good connection and a great friend, right? We just don't act like that. We're like, oh, they may think I'm crazy because I'm coming up here and saying hi. I mean, it's always the negative. So I challenge everybody to kind of flip that around and say, you know what? I'm a bearer of light. I'm excited. I have passion. I'm a great connector. Whatever it is that you do, say that to yourself, and you can emit that energy when you're talking to other people. And you just never know how it could brighten somebody else's day, right? They could be thinking the same thing. And then, has that ever happened? Like you meet somebody and they just start going off with this energy and you were kind of thinking you wanted to do it. And then they just help you take it up a notch, right? Because you're kind of reserved a little bit. You want to be excited, but you're thinking people are going to think you're crazy, right? So you get with this person, they have taken it up a notch, and then it makes it easier for you. So you never know who you might be doing that to when you share your energy with somebody else. So Karen is saying the negatives become like a bad drug and create an addiction. It is crazy, So we all think the same way when it comes to this. And you are the expert in your life. This is so true, right? So that's the thing. We need to begin to remember to tell ourselves that, right? And I think sometimes these words get you caught up, right? So if you say expert, that kind of sends, it may send the belief for other people of perfection because they're thinking, oh, you're the expert. You know, you have the amateur, the pro, the expert, right? So some words, and this is a part of us growing, is that we recognize we outgrow words like we can outgrow clothing, right? So if an expert doesn't feel good to you, come up with a different term. You know, maybe you can come up with something that feels right to you, but it also can explain that you're experienced and knowledgeable about whatever it is that you're discussing, right? So we even have the thing like guru, right? And I kind of like the name guru. You know, I think it's good because, you know, most people, when they're gurus, people don't really expect them. They expect them to have a lot of knowledge, but they don't really hold them to a standard of perfection. It's like, oh, you know, they're kind of like in their own zone, right? And so some words you just might have to switch them out with other ones so that they serve you better and motivate you to keep going forward. So, see what I'm saying? He says, I accept that people think I'm crazy because I'm so, it's all good. I'm telling you, we all are a little crazy, right? So you think about it, if you get into your zone and, you know, it's just like a doctor that is really excited about their field. They start talking this doctor language. I don't know what they're saying, all these big words, and they get with somebody who resonates with their, you know, another doctor, and they start talking this, you know, medical terminology that nobody else understands, but it fires them up, right? So we all have that. You know, I could be talking to people about, you know, I don't know, the philosophies of doing a Facebook Live, and I can get all motivated, and somebody else is like, well, this woman be quiet already. You know what I mean? So I think it's when you're in that zone of genius, you do have some traits that other people may not understand, but we have to recognize that it's for certain times, right? So for certain things, certain times, we can admit that creativity, that genius, and share that in a way that they can understand. That's just like, now Beverly is into the virtual reality, right? But she's not talking about that all the time. But I know her for that because she's passionate about it. And when she does talk about it, it lights her up, right? You should just see her demeanor when she talks about it. So there are those times that happens, but we just know how to turn it down a notch, turn it up a notch, depending on the environment, right? Because there are some times that people are just not going to resonate with you 100% because, you know, they're just not in that same field, right? And so, you know, it's the same thing like podcasting. You know, you get in there talking about a podcast and somebody else is like, I don't know, you know, they're intimidated or scared to start. So that is the elements of Messenger. So I hope that really resonated with you guys and you got something out of it. Hopopono, I think that's how you pronounce it, is the idea that we really can heal ourselves. So I just think that's so profound. When we heal ourselves, we can heal others. So this is true. So think about it. Let's just use another example because some people are like, that is some crazy stuff. I don't know what she's talking about. But let's just say, for example, you have somebody that you feel just kind of gets on your nerves. They complain, right? And so when we know that somebody gets on our nerves, we change, right? So, you know, if you see them coming, you may roll your eyes in your head. You may just sit down a little slouchier. You know, you begin to emit that energy before they even approach you, right? So just think about it. If you smile, if you deflect what they try to bring to you, you may have a different perspective, right? Even if you're just happy, it's like, man, I'm happy. I want other people to happy. be happy, why are they not happy? So you may even ask them different questions because you're coming from a place of abundance or being full or being positive, that you want to inquire, why are they not positive? Because, when you're thinking that they're complaining or they're getting on your nerves or whatever, you know, you we don't consider what they might have going on. It's just like every time they come over here, they're complaining about something. But if you begin to ask them different questions, they may stop complaining. So, just another example, like my kids. So, I would have my office, I'd come in here, and it really is a wreck. Okay. I have papers all over the place for the most part, but I just keep it in this area because you know how it is when you clean up an area. As soon as you clean it up, everybody migrates into the clean area. And it's like, I just cleaned this up, but then they don't want to clean up behind themselves. So I just leave it somewhat kind of disarray in here. And so thinking that it's not going to be attractive to them coming in here. Well, they come in here anyway. So one time I was just on this roll of every time they come in here, I give them something to do. So they come in and I'll be like, oh, can you go in the kitchen and go get that thing? Bring it back in here. I need it now. So every time they would come in my office, I would give them something, some task to do, a chore or something. So eventually they stopped coming in here. But it's kind of the same thing. It's about, when you decide how you're going to respond, it can have an impact. So in that case, because I kept telling them about a chore and doing whatever, they eventually got the message. They're like, you know what? I'm not going back in there again. Every time I go in there, she's having me do some work or a chore or something. So they go and talk amongst each other and then they stop coming in here. But it's kind of the same thing when you're thinking about somebody being negative. It's like, you know what? I'm going to be happy. I'm going to smile. Let me just ask them, why are you sad? Or what's really going on? And then just them being able to talk to somebody could change their whole attitude. So I hope that makes sense for everybody. We have a few more. She said that it did. Thank you. You're welcome. And what time does your show come on, Beverly? Tell everybody in the comments so they can follow you. Yes, have a great week, Melanie. So that everybody can see. Same with you, Melanie. What time your show comes on? Jonathan also has a Success on Social Facebook group. So you can go in there and watch different things that he teaches on social media. So that's another resource for you as well. So I want to thank y'all for joining. And again, just like Karen said, if you want to kind of get on your kids' side and be a little curious and imagination, have a little fun, then you can join us in the group that we're in. I think it's If I Was a Comic Book Hero. I think that's the name of our group. I'll put it in the comments, but you can create your own little comic book character and have them in the fashion show competition. So, but yeah. So Beverly, you can tell them when your show is and or your links and everything. But thank you all very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful, phenomenal week. And I look forward to seeing you guys if you're up in the morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be doing master classes. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.